Hello friends, so today we will discuss the gynecological and the obstetrical instruments which we are using in the hospital setup in the department of gynae and obstetricals. So before starting this class, if you like my video then please press like and please share and subscribe to my YouTube channel, and thanks for watching the video. So now we will start the class, that is gynecological and obstetrical instruments. So one by one we will discuss all the instrument, and all the covering of all the instrument is not possible, but we will discuss the that what most commonly we are using the instrument, that one by one we will discuss. So first instrument is Cusco's speculum. So Cusco's speculum is the duck mouth shape is the shape of this instrument, and we are using this instrument for the what are the gynecological indications for this instrument is: first is examination of vagina and the cervix in case of abnormal vaginal bleeding. So if any of the client is having the abnormal vaginal or the cervical bleeding, so we are not, from the outside or with the help of vaginal examination, we are not able to see that the bleeding, what is the origin of the bleeding. So this is the other type of retractor, or a type of self-retaining retractor, in which the examiner can easily visualize the internal the bleeding points and the origin of bleeding. And this, the other name of this speculum is self-retaining retractor also. Then the second indication for this is to take the cervical smear for cervical cancer screening. So if the client, if we are sending this smear, for example pap smear and all these type of smear is needed, so in that case also we are using this speculum. Then third one is the insertion and the removal of IUCD, intrauterine contraceptive devices. Then the fourth indication for this is to take the vaginal and the cervical swab to exclude infections. So if we are taking the high ups vaginal swabs, so the chances of contamination is more with the outside or the external vaginal flora. So if you wanted to prevent the contamination of the sample, in that case we are using this speculum. Then the next one is to allow introduction of uterine sound. So if we wanted to measure the uterine length in cases of IUCD, or to measure the length of uterine cavity, in that case also we are using this speculum. Then next one is the obstetrical indication. So what are the obstetrical indication for this speculum is: first one is to diagnose PROM. Then so the question for you guys is, what is PROM? So the PROM is, you will write it in the comment section, what is PROM. PROM is a pre-rupture of membranes in case of if the client is coming with the history of watery vaginal discharge. So what is that watery vaginal discharge? That is the amniotic fluid. So for diagnosis of that also we are using this speculum. And the other one is, if the client is having the if we wanted to exclude the cord prolapse, in that case also we are using this speculum. Then next one is to exclude local causes of APH. So what is APH? Antepartum hemorrhages. Then next one is Sims speculum. So what is the difference between the Cusco's and the Sims speculum? Sims speculum is other than the shape and everything, Sims speculum is one assistant is needed for the holding this speculum, and in this and the other one is Cusco's speculum. In that is a self-retaining retractor. In many exams they will ask what is the main difference between these two speculums. Then what is the Sims speculum indication? The Sims speculum indication is to examine the anterior vaginal wall for diagnosis of vesicovaginal fistula. If the client is having vesicovaginal fistula, for examination of that we need this speculum, Sims speculum. Then second one is to diagnose pelvic organ prolapse. So if the client is having the pelvic organ prolapse, in that case we are using the Sims speculum. Then the third one is to expose the vaginal for fistula repair. So if the client is having the exposure to the vaginal for fistula repair, so for the proper examination of that specula, with the help of this speculum we are doing the examination of fistula. The next one is that we have already discussed, what is the main indication for this, main assistance we are needing for this speculum is that one assistant is required in this speculum. Then third instrument is uterine curettage. So uterine curettage is see the shape of this, uh, see the shape of this curate, that this is the shape and this one is the shape. So that is, if we want to scrap something, then that this instrument we are using is a scraper. So if the client is having some endometritis or retained bits of conception, in that case we are doing the scrapping of this endometrial wall with this instrument. Then what are the indications? First one is to take an endometrial sample in case of abnormal vaginal bleeding. So if we wanted to take the sample, in that case also we are using this uterine curettage. Second one is to detect ovulation in case of infertility by detection of secondary changes of endometrium. So mainly we are using this instrument for the taking the sample of endometrial layer by scraping the endometrium. Third one is to remove the decidua or curettage after the evacuation in case of abortion, molar pregnancy. So if any adhesions will be there, then we are doing this scraping with the help of this instrument, that is uterine curettage. Then the fourth indication is to remove retained products of concept in the case of PPH. So if the client is having the PPH that is due to the retained bits of concepts in the conceptus, then that case we are using the uterine curettage. Then what are the complications of this uterine curettage? So first complication is permanent amenorrhea and infertility due to removal of basal layer of endometrium. So if we are permanently removing this basal layer of endometrium, so there is no further menstrual cycle or the reconstruction or rebuilding of endometrial layer is not there. So that is also the one of the cause of infertility. Excessive scrapping with the uterine curettage is also the one of cause of infertility. Asherman syndrome. So what is Asherman syndrome? If many lesions or many lesions, or if excessive scrapping we are doing with the help of uterine curettage, so there is anterior and the posterior fusion of the layers of the uterus, then it will lead to the Asherman syndrome, and that is also the another cause of infertility. Then the third complication of excessive use of this instrument is endometriosis due to implantation of endometrial tissue in the vagina or perineal scar. Then the complication of dilatations or the cervical trauma is due to this instrument is also very common. Then the next instrument is uterine sound. So what is uterine sound? Uterine sound is mainly we are using for the measurement of the uterine length we are measuring before putting the intrauterine copper or the copper T devices. So for the measurement of the uterine length we are using this instrument. So first one is the measurement of uterine cavity, and the second use of this instrument is to know the position and direction of the uterus in case of retroversion. So there are many abnormalities: retroverted, introverted, dextrorotated uterus. So many complications will be there. Positional complications or abnormality is there. In that case also we are using this instrument. So for the direction of uterus. Then the third one is to differentiate between a polyp arising from the cervical canal or body of the uterus. So to identify whether the polyp is arising from the cervical canal or from the body of the uterus, in that case also we are using the uterine sound. Then next one is to measure the length of the cervical canal. So that is also the another use of this uterine sound. Then the next, what are the complications of excessive use of, or if the untrained person using this instrument. So first one is shock due to pain. So if the client is having bleeding is also one of, if trauma is caused by this instrument, that is also leads to shock. Then second is ascending infection. So if we are using unsterile or proper technique is we are not using while handling these instruments, that is also the cause of ascending infections. Then third one is perforation of the uterus. So if the tip of the uterine sound is sharp, then it will perforate the uterus also, and it will cause the perforation of the uterus. Or what is perforation? That is the making of hole, that is it will perforate or it will cross the uterus and go to the another organs also, or some type of cavity also. Abortion if introduced into the pregnant uterus. So if we will introduce it in a pregnant uterus, that will also cause the abortion. The next instrument, and that is very common, mostly used or very common instrument, is Hagar's dilator. So Hagar's dilator is what are the indications of Hagar's dilator? So to dilate the cervix for under GA or paracervical block. So this instrument we are using for the dilatation of the cervix for in general anesthesia or paracervical block. Then the first one is induction of labor, also we are using. Second is taking cervical biopsy, also we are using. Third one is curettage and hysteroscopy. In all these conditions we are using this dilator, because if we wanted to enter the in the uterus, so first opening of the cervix is very much important. So for the opening of the cervix we are using this Hagar's dilators. Always we are starting the Hagar dilator from the minimum number to maximum number. So there are two types of Hagar dilator, one-ended and the double-ended. So in single-ended, one number is there on the one hand, and in double-end both the sides we can use. There are different numbers will be there in the both the sides. So second indication for this is to diagnose cervical incompetency with Hagar's number 8 passes easily without pain and resistance. So if the normally we will be able to pass the number 8 dilator, that is the test for the cervical incompetency. Then next is what are the complications of Hagar dilator. So the complications of the Hagar dilator is cervical trauma that may lead to cervical incompetency, uterine perforation. So that is also, if we are not properly handling these instruments, these are the most common complications with these instruments. The bleeding due to cervical laceration. So if we are directly using the large number of Hagar dilator, then it will leads to the injury to the client. So always start from the lowest number to the highest number, whichever is the suitability according to the cervix. So there are different sizes from 13 to 12 mm number and 7 to 10 for the curettage. So there are large numbers is also available with the Hagar dilators but in different departments also we are using these Hagar dilator, but in gynecological purpose mainly we are using for the dilatation of the cervix. Then the next one is Rubin's cannula. So the why we are using this Rubin's cannula? To inject a dye into the cervix to perform hysterosalpingiogram, to detect patency of fallopian tubes in case of infertility, also for diagnosis of cervical incompetency, congenital abnormalities of the uterus, and Asherman syndrome. So Rubin's cannula mainly we are using for the injecting of dye if the client is having obstructed kind of fallopian tubes, or we wanted to visualize. So if the what is Asherman syndrome, we have already discussed that the adhesions of the two layers due to the excessive scraping of the uterine cavity is Asherman syndrome. Then next is Ventouse for vacuum delivery. So this is the instrument most commonly we are seeing in the labor room, and most commonly we are using. So what are the indications of this Ventouse for vacuum delivery? First one is delay in second labor stage. So if there is no progress in the labor and the minor obstruction is there, and the fetal distress is there, in that condition we are putting this cup on the fetal head and we are forcefully taking out the head of the baby, and in that purpose we are using. So in detail about this Ventouse or for the vacuum delivery we will discuss in the further classes. So what are the requirements for utilizing this instrument? First one is cervical full dilatation is needed, because if the full dilatation is not there, it will lead to the trauma to the mother's cervix. Then the next is fetal head engagement. So fetal head engagement is also one of the important factor for this. Then because if the head is high up, in that condition also it will leads to the complication to both mother and the baby also. Then the third one is good uterine contraction is also very much important, because if without the good uterine contraction it will lead to the arrested labor. Then third one is what are the complications of this condition, or what are the contraindications of this instrument we cannot use in all these conditions. First one is fetal scalp bleeding. So if the baby is having scalp bleeding, in that condition we are not using this instrument. And if the gestational age of the baby is less than 34 weeks, in that condition also we are not using this instrument. Then third one is the malpresentation The presentation of the fetus is other than the fetal the cephalic presentation, in that also we are not use this instrument. If the venous fail, don't try forceps or repeat venous twice, because it will leads to the many complications that we will later on discuss in the future classes. Then the next instrument is long curved forceps. So there are many varieties of these forceps that we will discuss in the further class. So what are the indications of this using of long curved forceps? First one is maternal exhaustion. So due to long or prolonged labor pains, the mother is not able to bear down or push the baby. In that condition, we are accelerating, or with the help of this forceps we are taking out the baby. Then the second is prolonged second stage. So if the mother is having the prolonged second stage of labor, so what is the second stage of labor? Second stage of labor is from the full cervical dilatation to the delivery of the baby is second stage of labor. In that condition also we are using this long curved forceps. Then the third is occipito-posterior position. So if the baby is having the occipito-posterior position, in that condition also we are using this forceps. Then the fourth one is after coming head in breech delivery. So if the baby is delivering, the position of the baby is breech, so after the delivery of the full body, the head is arrested. In that condition also we are using these curved forceps. Then the next one is ovum forceps. So what are the indications of this ovum forceps? So indication of this ovum forceps is to remove products of concepts. So after the abortion, after the retained bits of concepts, or the cause of that is the one of the cause of BPH. So in that condition we are taking that conceptus with the help of this forceps. Then secondly, to evacuate the uterus after abortion. So if the retained bits or conceptus will be there so with the help of this forceps we are taking out this that conceptus. What are the complications of this forceps? Perforation of the uterus is the most common type of complication among all these instruments. So what is the difference in this instrument, that is ovum forceps? The shape, see the shape of this, that oval type of tip is there, and there is no lock in this forceps. The next is Valsalm forceps. So Valsalm is also the one of the type of forceps we are using in the gynecological instrument. So most commonly you have seen in the CHC, PHCs and the hospital setup also this forceps we are using. So to grasp the cervical tip for visualization of cervix or during vaginal hysterectomy. So if you wanted to see the cervix very clearly, or next one is to grasp a fibroid polyp during vaginal myomectomy. In that case also we are using the Valsalm forceps. It may be single tooth, double tooth or a multiple tooth. So it should not use during the pregnancy, because the chances of bleeding is more with this. So it causes the laceration of the cervix, causing bleeding. The next one is sponge holding forceps. So what are the indications of sponge holding forceps? So this instrument is I think almost medical practitioner or those who are belongs to the medical field, they have seen this instrument. So what are the indications of sponge holder? To hold the gauze during sterilization, cleaning of the skin before surgery. In that case also we are using the sponge holder forceps. Then the second one is for removal of IUCD. Also we are using sponge holder to grasp the anterior cervical lip during the removal of product of conceptus, as a Valsalm cause bleeding due to high vascularity of the cervix during the pregnancy. So in the alternative of the Valsalm during the pregnancy, we can use the sponge holder forceps. It has a lock. So this is the difference between the Valsalm and the sponge holder. It has a lock. Next one is the Cocker's forceps. So this is also the very commonly used instrument. So indications of this Valsalm is to perform the artificial rupture of membrane for induction of labor. We are using this Cocker's forceps. The next one is to hold the sheath of rectus muscle during the cesarean section. Is also the one of the indication of this Cocker's forceps. It has two ends, one end with a single tooth and another end will be with two tooth. It has a lock. The next is Babcock forceps. So Many people will get confused with the Babcock forceps and the open forceps. So carefully see the shape of the tip of the Babcock and the open forceps. So what are the indications of Babcock forceps? Indication is to hold soft tissue like bowel, appendix or fallopian tubes during abdominal surgery. We are using the Babcock. Then next is Pinard's fetal stethoscope. So to auscultate the fetal heart sound, we are using this fetal stethoscope. This is made up of aluminium because the sound conductivity of the aluminium is high. So previously we are using this instrument. Nowadays we are assessing the fetal heart rate with the help of stethoscope and the advanced machines. Then next is Ellis forceps. So what are the indications of Ellis forceps? First one is to hold the peritoneum during cesarean section. Second is to removal of a cervical polyp. Then third one is during tubal ligation and abdominal hysterectomy. We are using the Ellis forceps. It has a lock. One end has a 3 tooth and another one has a 2 tooth. So thanks for the watching my video. Hope you like my video. So please do share and subscribe to my YouTube channel, and thanks for